According to a new study from financial services firm Edward Jones in partnership with AgeWave and Harris Poll, during the pandemic, 1/3 of U.S. adults had a conversation with close family members about their end-of-life plans and preferences. And for 44.5 million Americans, this was the first time that they'd had discussions about finances, health, and legal plans. Alison Carne is the principal at Edward Jones Trust Company, and she has more of the results of the study. Alison, how has the pandemic impacted people's attitudes about their health and finances?
Well, Audrey, as you shared, I think that there's just a lot more openness and willingness to talk about things. Some things that are maybe a little bit painful to talk about, like healthcare, end-of-life plans, even legal plans. So yeah, a third of adults are having these conversations because of the pandemic. We think that that's a good thing. Of course, the pandemic has been very tough on many Americans. This might be a silver lining. We've also found that 7 in 10 Americans say that the pandemic has brought their family closer together. And 63% of Americans agree that there are many benefits to involving different generations in those important financial decisions. So that the pandemic has really opened people's eyes to what's most important, and they're starting to talk about it.
Well, I understand that there are 3 really essential end-of-life documents that everyone should have in place. What are they?
So this is really going to depend person to person and even state to state, depending on where you live. The 3 most important, or what I would call foundational documents, are a will, a medical directive, and a power of attorney. So a will is a document that's going to spell out where you want your assets to go after you're gone. And for many folks, that would be where you would name legal guardians for any minor children. A medical directive is so important because it spells out for healthcare providers and for family members what you would want to have happen if you were ever in some sort of persistent vegetative state where you couldn't actually communicate your end-of-life wishes. And then that power of attorney document it can cover medical decisions. It can also cover financial decisions and really name somebody to step into your shoes if you're not able to communicate those financial decisions for yourself. So those are the 3 most essential documents. Unfortunately, what our study found is that only 19% of adults age 50 or older have all 3 of those in place today.
Well, I guess a part of the reason behind why people don't have those documents is because they don't want to think about it. But it's important to have those conversations with your loved ones. So how would you suggest that we actually start to have that conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of hesitancy on this topic. It's not very pleasant to think about your end-of-life plans. And there's of course emotion tied into finances and family dynamics and all of that. So Americans are wanting to avoid these conversations because of potential family conflicts or burdening their family members with certain finances. I think one of the ways to really help accelerate these conversations and take it from a point of intention to a point of action is to work with a financial advisor. That might seem a little unconventional to some, but if you think about it, 2 of the most important ingredients in an estate plan are family dynamics and understanding of family relationships and finances. So those are 2 inputs that really need to be well explored and well documented in order to have a good estate or end-of-life plan put in place. And your financial advisor can help with both of those things and potentially even connect you to an estate planning attorney that's local to you that can kind of help throughout that entire process.
All right. Well, it's one thing to have these documents in order and another thing to protect your legacy and your assets so that they're passed on correctly, which means it's important to speak with a financial advisor to understand how to transfer these assets without messing up.
Yeah, absolutely, Audrey. So there are what really maybe some folks don't realize is that the way you own assets matters. So do you own it jointly with your spouse? Do you own it by yourself? Do you own it in the name of a trust? Those things really matter when it comes to the way that your financial assets are going to pass on to loved ones. And so there's a lot of coordination that's needed between that financial advisor and that estate planning attorney.
Well, it'd be a shame to do all that work for naught. Did you find any of the results from the survey surprising?
So, Audrey, I think one of the most surprising things from the survey was that 53 million Americans wish that their parents and in-laws did a better job of managing their money. So that's adult children kind of saying, mom and dad, how are things really going for you? So it's a little bit less about, mom and dad planning for the inheritance they want to leave behind to their kids, and a little more about, okay, mom and dad, what do you have going on? And is everything okay? So it's just really highlighting that these conversations are two-way conversations. And I think that that's a really important facet. And it can also free up mom and dad, for example, from feeling concerned about opening the door to those conversations, because it's likely that those adult children want to engage in those discussions.
Well, the other thing that just came to mind, Allison, is that parents oftentimes don't really want to give their children insight into their finances because maybe they'd be embarrassed, or quite honestly, it could be that they have so much they don't want the kids to know. But anyway, bringing in someone else to help steer that conversation discreetly and effectively, I think, is probably also important. So where can people go for some more information?
So for more information on the study and just the topics we've talked about today, you can visit edwardjones.com/new retirement.
Well, unfortunately, the end is inevitable for all of us, but having your financial house in order is important to protect not just you, but also your heirs. Alison Carne, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
There's more to come on Talk with Audrey. I'll be right back.